Phil, thank you so much. I believe that we are down to our very last testimonial. We're going to leave it for David, but before he comes up, I'm going to take this opportunity. You guys have heard me giving you a lot of instructions today and saying a lot of stuff that didn't really mean anything because it didn't come from my heart. So I'm going to tell you guys about why I'm here. I'm from Oklahoma. I moved here about 3 years ago. Yay! In Oklahoma, 4/19 happens to be a pretty tragic day. I don't know if you guys remember that, but 30 years ago today was the largest domestic terrorism act on American soil when they blew up the Oklahoma City Federal Building. I was a little girl when that happened. I mean, real little, not that old. I was a little girl when that happened, and I remember the feelings of helplessness as I watched on the news with my state in disarray and turmoil, and I remember the conversations with my mom saying, why did that happen? You know, there's no sense in violence like that. And you guys get that, we get that, and that's why we're here. But I want to make one more parallel, and I had a bunch of people say maybe you shouldn't make that parallel. There is an act of domestic terrorism happening every day in our effing country right now. And I, like a lot of you out there, am a veteran of the United States, and I took an oath to defend our Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And I am so fucking proud of you guys for showing up to fight for terrorism that is happening in our country today. So. Oh, Brent's gonna squeeze in. I guess I'll.
I know. It's my privilege. I'm sorry. Hold on. Okay, I wasn't gonna speak today, but real quick, just one thing. Okay, so I have Asperger's, and I also work in IT, and I've never tried my hand at poetry. A certain someone needs to understand the fact is we work good jobs and pay our taxes. Another fact that should take note: we're registered and we get out and vote. Okay? So words of ignorance can cause pain. Don't speak like you've got half a brain.
I tried to close it out, guys, but when you say we're closing the bar, everybody wants another shot. So we're gonna have David, and then we got a couple more folks who said, wait, I didn't know it was over. So we're gonna keep this thing going. If anybody out there has something they wanna say, please come up so we can get you on the list. We're gonna keep this party going with David.
Good afternoon. How are you? I want you to know that I love you. And I love the people on our side of the street, and I love the people on the other side of the street, and I love the people who think we are all idiots. I am not highly qualified to be at this mic today. I am not a politico. I am not deeply passionate about learning everything there is to learn. I've learned enough to know my position. And as I arrived here today, I realized I could have very little impact on anybody here. I don't think I could say to anyone here to compel them. So I stayed on my bike, and I logged about 12 miles downtown today, riding around, getting cheers, getting claps, getting jeers, all kinds of things. And then my bike wandered over to University, and I found very few people there. And then my bike took me to Commonwealth Stadium. Does anybody know who's at Commonwealth Stadium today? The wonderful, amazing, impressive Tyler Sanders. Toward the tailgate area, slowly, on my bike with my flag. And as I mentioned, I'm not highly qualified to speak. So this was a terrifying thing for me to do. I cannot have a very highly compelling, factual, engaging, bring them on, let's logic this out conversation with a lot of people. It's easy with people that agree with me, but I ran into 5 people today who said, hey, your flag's upside down. I did not approach a single person, but 5 people approached me. And I said, oh, do you know what that means? And about half of them do. Raise your hand if you know what the upside down flag means. Okay, it means distress. And if they knew it was distress, or if they just gave me a funny look and said, I don't understand, and I said, oh, well, we're in distress here. Our country is under attack. And most of them said, yeah, America, fuck yeah, we're under attack. And maybe they had an idea to start with, or maybe I had to start. And I started with our judiciary is under attack.
Yep.
Our federal judiciary, who have ruled to uphold the Constitution, are getting threats in their homes. And their children are getting threats in their homes, their adult children. And that is why our judiciary is under attack and are constantly. And I say this as best I can, and I'm not like the best at it. And then they would say something. Maybe Biden, maybe terrorists, maybe economy, maybe Russia. And I know some things about these things, but not enough to really engage. So I found something to agree on. I found some aspect of something they said that I could say, yeah, I agree. I'm with you on that part of it. Some of them, the best I could do was, yes, this is not respectful use of the flag. And I would speak to how it pains me to use the flag this way. It is disrespectful, and I am a supporter of the flag. I am a patriotic citizen. I have participated in flag retirement ceremonies. 4 of those conversations were quality conversations. They were peaceful, and they achieved various levels of engagement. Nobody convinced anybody of anything, but I listened carefully, earnestly. I didn't pretend to listen. I listened. And you know what happened when I did that? They listened. Again, nobody changed, but we exchanged ideas. And I heard that some people feel safer now. And I said, well, that's good. That's a good thing. We should feel safer now. And I heard some people say, well, the economy is getting better. And I said, well, I want a good economy too. And found ways to talk about how we can feel safe so long as nobody accuses us of being a terrorist. One gentleman, 4 were good conversations. One that got cursed out for 15 minutes. And he explained to me that someone who threatened Brett Kavanaugh pleaded guilty a couple days ago to that. I didn't know that. I'm not a politico. And I said, man, I hope they throw him in the prison. I hope they lock him up. He admitted to threatening another person. And he said, yeah. I said, I hope that if somebody accuses me of doing something, I get to get a trial too. And we talked about that perspective a little bit. So I'm going over. I'm going to wrap up here. But when you talk to people who don't think like you, or don't look like you, or don't show up to the same things you show up to, you've got to listen. You've got to be respectful. You have to show them that you care about what they're saying too. So as we engage with we the people, with Americans, we are all Americans along multitude spectrums of philosophies. And we really have to respect each other and not be divided. Thank you. I love you all.